What if I told you that one small island in Asia has more influence over your daily life than most Americans realize? An island that most people could barely find on a map. An island smaller than West Virginia. Yet if something happened to it tomorrow, the consequences could ripple through the global economy within days. Your next smartphone could become more expensive. Car production could slow down. Artificial intelligence development could face major setbacks. Stock markets could panic, and some of the most powerful governments in the world could find themselves scrambling to respond. That may sound like an exaggeration, but it isn't, because hidden behind the technology that powers the modern world lies a place that has quietly become one of the most important pieces of real estate on Earth. That place is Taiwan. And while many Americans rarely think about it, military strategists, technology executives, economists, and world leaders think about it all the time, because Taiwan is no longer just a small island in East Asia. It has become one of the most critical pillars supporting the global economy. And understanding why could help explain some of the biggest geopolitical tensions of our time. So, how did a small island of 23 million people become so important? The answer begins with something smaller than a fingernail, a semiconductor chip. Every time you unlock your phone, start your car, use a GPS system, stream a movie, or ask an AI chatbot a question, you're relying on semiconductors. These tiny silicon chips are the brains behind modern technology. Without them, the digital world simply wouldn't function. No smartphones, no cloud computing, no artificial intelligence, no advanced medical equipment, no modern military systems. Semiconductors are so important that many experts now compare them to oil in the 20th century. But here's where the story gets fascinating. Most countries consume semiconductors. Very few can manufacture the most advanced ones. And among those that can, one place stands above all others: Taiwan. For decades, Taiwan quietly invested in an industry that most people barely understood. While much of the world focused on natural resources, manufacturing, and finance, Taiwan focused on mastering one of the most difficult engineering challenges in human history, building the world's most advanced computer chips. And that decision changed everything. Imagine trying to build a machine so precise that it can carve patterns thousands of times thinner than a human hair. Now imagine repeating that process billions of times without making mistakes. That's essentially what advanced semiconductor manufacturing requires. The factories that produce these chips are among the most complex facilities ever created by humanity. Each one costs tens of billions of dollars. Each one requires years of construction, and each one depends on expertise that has taken decades to develop. This is where Taiwan gained an extraordinary advantage. Over time, it became the center of the global semiconductor ecosystem. Today, many of the world's most advanced technologies depend on chips produced there. And the numbers are staggering. The most sophisticated AI systems, the most advanced smartphones, the newest data centers, the next generation of computing, all rely, directly or indirectly, on Taiwan's semiconductor industry, which raises an uncomfortable question. What happens when so much of the world's technology depends on one place? The answer is one reason Taiwan matters so much. But it's not the only reason, because Taiwan's importance isn't just technological, it's geopolitical. And that's where the story becomes even more complicated. Look at a map of East Asia. Taiwan sits in a strategically important location surrounded by some of the world's largest economies. Major shipping routes pass nearby. global trade flows through the region, and the island sits at the center of one of the most closely watched geopolitical relationships on Earth. For decades, Taiwan has existed in a unique and complex political situation. China views Taiwan as part of its territory. Taiwan operates with its own government and economic system. The United States maintains important interests in regional stability and freedom of navigation. As a result, Taiwan has become far more than a local issue. It has become a global one, because if tensions around Taiwan ever escalated significantly, the consequences wouldn't remain confined to Asia. They could affect technology supply chains, international trade, financial markets, and global security. And that possibility is exactly why leaders around the world pay such close attention to events in the Taiwan Strait. What if the unthinkable happened? Let's imagine a hypothetical scenario, not a prediction, just a thought experiment. Suppose Taiwan's semiconductor production was interrupted for an extended period. Factories stop operating. Advanced chips stop shipping. Supply chains break down. What happens next? Technology companies begin competing for limited inventory. Prices rise. Manufacturers delay products. Automobile companies struggle to obtain critical components. AI companies find it harder to access cutting-edge computing power. Investors react. Markets become volatile. Governments search for alternatives. The impact would not be immediate everywhere, but over time, it could spread through the global economy like a shockwave. And that is why countries around the world are investing billions of dollars into domestic chip manufacturing. Not because Taiwan is becoming less important, but because it is already so important. Why this matters for America's future. The next decade may be defined by a new global competition, not simply for territory, not simply for resources, but for technological leadership, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, advanced robotics, next-generation defense systems. The future of these industries depends on computing power, and computing power depends on semiconductors. That means Taiwan occupies a unique position in the story of America's future. The island influences the technologies that power innovation, the industries that drive economic growth, and the systems that support national security. In many ways, understanding Taiwan means understanding the future itself. Conclusion. For centuries, power came from armies, territory, and natural resources. Today, power increasingly comes from technology, and technology depends on tiny chips that most people never see. Which brings us back to Taiwan, a small island, a global technology powerhouse, and one of the most strategically important places on Earth. Most Americans may never visit Taiwan. Many may never think about it, yet its influence touches their phones, their cars, their jobs, their investments, and the technologies that will shape the decades ahead. The future of artificial intelligence, the future of global trade, the future balance of power, all are connected in some way to this remarkable island. If you enjoy deep dive documentaries exploring the technologies, ideas, and geopolitical shifts shaping our future, subscribe to the Future Brief. Because the future is already happening, most people just haven't noticed yet.